Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your
This is the part of the live where you think, is anybody going to join us?
Yeah.
They will.
Can they still watch it afterwards with this one with StreamYard?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's beautiful. Yep. They've started coming on.
I say love.
Hello, hello, hello. Say hello. Let us know you're here.
It's always
playing a beautiful song. Oh, hi, Bella. Always first. Playing a beautiful song that was requested by Sheila. Oh, I know a song, Bella. It is a beautiful, beautiful song. I didn't know that, Bella. Is your name Bella Rose? Okay. Bella Rose. Bella is one of my stalwart supporters, I think. That's the way of describing her. Anyway. Oh, and Sandra. Hello. Sandra says hello, Val and Sheila. Okay. I'm going to keep playing it for a minute because I love it. It's so powerful, isn't it? Hi, Lynette. It's funny, I was watching one of the lives that we'd done the other week and everybody was doing what we're doing to the music.
Yeah, exactly. You can't help it, can you?
And when you actually see it and you've got no noise and you just see people going back and forth, we look like a lot of Wallies. Hi, Lorraine.
Look, the dog's coming in to join me.
Oh, lovely. Nice extra energy. Evening, Roger. Oh, good morning, Roger. Okay. Get to the end of this bit and then I'll stop it. She's got a beautiful voice.
It's the best version for me.
Yeah. I prefer this to the live version. Hello, Adam. Hello, Jan. There you go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song. Hello and good morning to all of you in the UK and good evening to all of you those in Australia. So Ali, you're in Australia. Hi. Look, she says her speciality is looking like a Wally. I love it. I love it. Roger saying hello, morning, lovely ladies. Kim, Alan. Yeah, Bella's just put a picture up of a rose. Now that song was requested by Sheila as a favourite, and Sheila's mum passed away this week, which I'm impressed that you come on. I mean, as spiritualists, we know that life continues, and oh, she said it's a bit crackly. I don't understand that because we've got everything connected correctly this week, Jan.
Yeah, we are working.
Yeah, we are working. So, so as mediums, we know that life is continual, and although we've lost the physical part of somebody, we haven't actually lost the essence of them, the spirit of them. But it still doesn't stop us as spiritualists getting a bit sad because you can't pick up the phone or you can't go and see them in the physical. So my guest this week is Sheila French. Welcome, 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 Sheila.
Thank you.
So Sheila said she's looking forward to a warm Aussie welcome. So get asking questions, you guys. So Sheila and I were just having a bit of a chat. And Sheila was saying that at the beginning of COVID, you were technophobe and you had to learn all new skills, as I think most people in the world did.
Yeah, definitely. If I could avoid a computer, I would avoid it. But fortunately, my daughter is very patient and my husband is very useful. So I've got there eventually.
Well, we're all very lucky over here, especially in this area. Hello, Lorraine, because we've got the lovely Brett Thomas, who you will meet tomorrow, who's our technical saviour, is the word that I can give for him. And if anything goes wrong, he comes and sorts it out. He buys us all new cameras and microphones, so we're all, all using the best of the best. And he went down to Wollongong Spiritualist Church, which is 10 minutes from here, and they got a new television and he got it all set up for them. So yeah, he's our little whiz man, which is lovely. So Sheila, tell us a little bit about, because I know people are always interested in why we start out as mediums, how that comes about, what makes us continue. And then I was interested to hear that you've taken a break from mediumship, and most of us are going full pelt into it, and you're backing off, not coming away from it altogether. But just tell us a little bit about all of that.
Okay, so good morning to you, good evening to you, those of you in Australia, good morning to the UK. When I say I backed off, I've worked throughout COVID on Zoom, and I work regularly with groups in the week. But before COVID, I was very intensely involved with my work. Most weekends I was traveling through an airport to another country. I was running my own school here. And it was as if 85% of my thoughts were not necessarily with the spirit world, but with all the organisation that goes with being a working medium. So when I say I've backed off, although I'm still doing mediumship and still working, I've had a bit of a normal life for 2 years. And that's the first time in more than 30 years. I was self-employed before that in business, and they were 7-day-a-week jobs. So actually I've had a normal life. I've done a little bit of mediumship, it feels like, probably more than many people, but a little bit of mediumship and a lot of normality, which I think has not only helped me, but also helped my work as a teacher and my attitude to the spirit world, because there's a better balance, quite simply a better balance. I'm not working full time. But I really, given the choice, Val, I would rather be in a classroom with a student any day, teaching than on Zoom. For me, although we've now got a nice routine going, I mean, even doing diplomas and things with students online, I miss that interaction of a group, not necessarily with me, but with each other. And I think certainly in a classroom, students have learned more from each other than they have on Zoom. Yeah. There's this sense of isolation for the student, even if you use breakout rooms or group sessions. I always say there's as much teaching goes on in a coffee break and a lunch break as goes on in a classroom.
That's right. It's actually interesting you say that, Sheila. Sorry to interrupt, but I did my very first post-Zoom church service, and I cried all the way through it because it was real people and real energy. Not saying it's not real people and real energy.
No, I know what you mean.
Completely different. And I couldn't sing because the tears, it was just wonderful, And Bella's just said that happened to her when she went back to choir. We got lots of people joining us. We've got Angela and Relly Holden. Hello, lovely lady. Nice to see you. Renee, who I was doing the blog with today, Diane. And somebody said, oh, Relly, I'm really glad I tuned in. So sorry, I've interrupted you.
Great. Yeah. No, I think you can. I wasn't sure at the beginning of Zoom, and I don't know how your listeners feel, but I wasn't sure we would have the same energy connection as mediums to work with the clients, for the clients to have the connection with the spirit world. And I think the connection is good. It's definitely good, but it's different. And it's different to when they're in a room. So I think we've all learned that we can have two ways of presenting our work, and maybe not one is better than the other, just two different ways. Now, with logistics in your own country, I'm sure Zoom now has brought lots of people in that wouldn't have had the opportunity to go to a divine service or an evening of clairvoyance.
Absolutely.
I have a lady working with me from Canada, a student working with me from Canada. She lives in a little village. It has these wonderful names, like Little Lost Brown Bear. They have these wonderful names for these small places in Canada. And she was entirely self-taught and delivering professional readings to clients, and she'd never seen another medium work. And because she just was, hundreds of miles from a point of contact with anything like that. And she's brought a breath of fresh air to the classroom, because her attitude is completely different to her work, to many other students. So I think Zoom and COVID has brought us positives and negatives, really.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny, people are putting up here, hi, Kathy. Ali said that Zoom has enabled me to join Val's classes where I would not have had the opportunity to do so, because she lives over in Adelaide, which is 15 hours away driving. And Angela says, I've now started, she calls me Miss Valid Val. It's all I know, so I'm happy enough. But I always say to students, have a look at other mediums working, because you learn an awful lot.
Absolutely.
And it must be so difficult if you don't see, but you're still able to, well, amazing that you can still do the actual work.
And Vala, I also recommend to students, if you hear there's a very bad medium, go and see them as well, because you can learn as much from them as you can from a good one.
That is my absolute top thing I say to the students. We have a list of who not to follow, but go and watch them anyway, so you know how not to work. And I don't know whether that's good or bad, but I think, as you've just said, it's important because we learn a huge amount. And I was just thinking that the lady in that little village in Canada, Spirit, are so brilliant, aren't they? Making her do that work, or helping her to do that work in the way that is right.
Yeah. And it comes from self-inspiration, of course, and self-motivation. So reading the signals, acknowledging the presence. She has no doubt that she can connect to the spirit world right from day one. She has no doubt. She just didn't have the techniques to necessarily expand it. But she could have a terrible day in a classroom and she'll just walk away from it completely unwounded, because it's just a bad day at the office, because she could only learn by having a realization that this was real. Everything she was getting was real. She just messed it up some days, that was all. So we never have tears or tantrums or anything like that from her.
What a great thing that is, because I was talking about this on the blog with Renee today, that our fear stops us from doing things. And when sometimes we're in a classroom and we're listening to other people go blah, 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 and then they come to you and go, what have you got? And this happened to me in my class. They'd say, what have you got, Val? And I'd go, nothing. And they'd scoot past me. I was so frightened, because I didn't want to be made to look a fool, or they've got all of this information and I may have one word or one teeny little phrase. So I think that's really magical that she didn't have the tears and tantrums. That's really really cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So a couple of people have said again about Bella's using Zoom for her university degree, and she's just started Pathways to University. I know my daughter was doing a university degree and Zoom was a big part. Trish has just said, and I think, Trish, you work at the university, so colleges, schools, universities
absolutely
have used, a huge amount of Zoom. And they're all saying yes, so they all agree with what you're saying.
I'm just an old fogey. It's okay. I'm quite happy to be seen a little bit past Zoom.
No, I'm older than you, shush. I've been using computers since I was 18, so I started off with computers that were whirligigs on a wall, and you had a special room for them with an anti-room and had to be kept in a it's a long time ago. So what brought you into mediumship?
So I think I probably had a classical entry in that my mother-in-law she had motor neuron disease. You might call it ALS out there, which we're now talking of 38 years ago. And there was no treatment whatsoever. So she just was sent home to wait till she died, really. And if anybody knows motor neuron disease, you literally lose something every day. Every single day you lose something until, of course, you pass. And she was recommended to go to a healer who was also a minister of spiritualism, knew nothing about it. And actually, she never got better. She really didn't get better. The disease could be measured on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But one of the symptoms of motor neuron disease, not a clinical symptom, not just a reactionary symptom, is depression. And it was only after she passed that we realised the healing had taken away the depression. Yeah. And I can't say she enjoyed her journey, but certainly the crying, things like that were uncontrolled, they disappeared. But of course, we were looking for physical change, which just wasn't measurable. So from that point, we did what a lot of people do. We then went to see the minister to see if we could get a message from her, to know if she was there. And then I went into business. So it sort of slipped for a couple of years. And then I was asked to go to a psychic supper. Didn't know what a psychic supper was. I probably had the worst reading you could ever have. You know, I mean, seriously, I paid money for what was probably the worst sitting you could ever have. I mean, really, it was just so bad. And at the end of it, she said to me, I'm starting a development circle. Would you like to come? And I went.
Yeah.
32 chairs were put out, and I was the only person that turned up. So there was myself and this very bad medium. Well, I can't say she was all bad because I'm still here. So, but I can't honestly say with the knowledge I have now that she did anything much that was right or sensible. Yeah. But it made me curious enough. So I started to look into a few things, and then I slipped a disc in my back. It's a long story, this, but it's just coincidental. I slipped a disc in my back. So I went to see a chiropractor, not knowing what a chiropractor is. I was just desperate. You know, I just sort of went through therapists and thought, I'll try that one. And as I was laid on this lady's couch, she began by just holding her hands over my back, not touching me. I knew nothing really other than Hazel's healing that she'd had, my mother-in-law. And I said to this chiropractor, why do I think this isn't chiropractic? Why do I think this is something else? And she said, well, actually, I'm a spiritual healer. But she said, I'm not allowed to tell anybody that. So I do a bit of healing at the beginning and the end. And tomorrow I'm going on a coach to the Arthur Findlay College for Open Day. Would you like to come with me? And I went.
Wow.
So it really was, you know, I wasn't deeply spiritual. I was a committed Christian years back, but I've given that up. It didn't really suit. And I wasn't looking for it, and I wasn't desperate for it. I was just in the right place at the right time on several occasions. And there it began. So I was a late starter. I never followed the spirit world, looked for the spirit world, really even knew what the spirit world was. I'd gone through a very conformist Christian background. And I turned up on a course 6 weeks later at the Arthur Findlay College knowing absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Who was your first teacher?
It was Marcia Day, the lovely Marcia Day, who, if anybody's ever worked with her, sadly, ill health took her away from her work. But Marcia Day is the most grounded, and I don't mean in a spiritual way, I mean in a normal way, grounded, everyday person. Yeah. And I began to have, the very first time I sat, I began to have trance experiences. I wasn't supposed to, but I was. And I'd say to her, well, that was weird. No, that's normal. She'd say, go and have a cup of tea and come back again. And then I'd have another weird experience. And I'd say, what was that? Don't worry about it. It's normal. That's all she said to me for a week was, it's normal. And I felt everything but normal. And at the end of the week, she said, I hope you're coming back. So I said, only if I can come back to you. So she said, well, the next course I'm doing is astrology. I said, I'll come. So I came to the astrology course. She said, you don't want to be doing astrology. You need to be doing trance mediumship. So I said, only if you're there. And she said, I won't be there. She said, so I said, who do I choose? So she said, let your gut tell you who to choose.
Ah.
Well, I chose the late Glyn Edwards.
I knew you were going to say
yeah, and did most of my development then with Glyn or his tutors, and you know, Glyn and I, we were good buddies. We were good friends. He helped later in dreams that came true for me with my own school. But also, Glyn was a real taskmaster. You sunk or swum with him.
Yes,
So
I've heard that.
He taught you to be very independent in your experience, and the only place you can go to then is the spirit world for guidance. Yeah. So I learned that Glyn brought me to the classroom, and the spirit world taught me when I was in the classroom. And I'm grateful for that. But you needed a thick skin to work that many years with him.
Yes, I've heard some stories, and it's funny because I know he was at the college when I've been to the college, and I thought, oh no, somebody's touching my face. That's go away. But I knew that I would never go on one of his courses because I didn't think that I had the stamina to be able to put up with him from what I'd heard. So a couple of people have said that you don't look old, you look beautiful, by the way, and the colours that you're wearing are gorgeous. And a couple of people have already also said that they've experienced neurons. Yeah, and it's not that nice, is it? It's not that nice at all.
Well, they have some wonderful things now. I can see Susan's on there saying she has a member with MND. I mean, one of the most important things they have now is voice synthesizers. So my mother-in-law lost communication very quickly, and then the ability to write. So for more than a year, we could only talk to her. She couldn't really talk back to us. And I think just the invention, I mean, here again, computers play their part. Voice synthesizers now are amazing. So hopefully this has got that.
Lack of communication is horrible, isn't it? But it's funny, it's like in some respects COVID was lack of contact. We couldn't touch one another.
Absolutely.
And I know that when I'm doing classes, they all become my family. And when they do something right and it's exciting, I have to jump up and give them a great big squeezy hug, you know. So and I missed all of that. Anyway, so you continued on from there, and then
then I remember the very first time I went to the Arthur Findlay College on the open weekend, and if anybody's ever been there, it used to be very, very busy, and they would have a big marquee in the grounds and, of course, the wonderful tulip tree. And I just felt I wanted to step back from everything. So I went and sat under the tulip tree, and I very clearly heard who I now know to be Gordon Higginson, who died just literally weeks before I started. Say to me, you will teach here. And I hadn't been in development circle or anything. And after a lot of hard work and some blood, sweat and tears, I did go on to teach at the college. And at the time, Glyn was having problems at the college and not getting enough work. And I went to, if anybody remembers Sue Rowlands, she had a school in Anglesey at the time. I don't think she's around anymore. And I went to Sue Rowlands to work with Glyn. And I was just walking, and I had a vision of a school for myself where I would give Glyn a base to work. And at the time I was buying a very small hotel, but I started running a couple of workshops for Glyn in a very large hotel, which burnt to the ground. Coincidentally, the fire started in Glyn. If anybody knows Glyn, he used to smoke in bed, even when he wasn't in non-smoking buildings. But he wasn't there when the fire started, fortunately. But the fire burnt the hotel to the ground. So we moved it to my own hotel, and then my school was formed. And then later I took over from Glyn and became the teacher there. But both the Arthur Findlay College, many people dream of working there or being there. It's in my past now, and of starting my school were literally inspired moments from the spirit world, for sure. Absolutely for sure. Because on both occasions, I didn't have enough knowledge or ability to have either really connected to the spirit world or to have had that complete faith in those visions. They were crazy visions, and I followed them and they happened.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's funny, there's a couple of things that I was going to pick up on then. One was Gordon, and then I'll talk about that in a second. But the other is the crazy visions, and the fact that people think you're crazy. I failed my CSNU speakers because I said I thought people would think I was crazy, and they told me that you insinuated that all us mediums are crazy. I said that's not what I said, so they failed me, sadly. But we do get looked on as if we're complete crazy people, which is kind of a shame. Hi, Tina. I was only talking about you today. But it's interesting that I missed Gordon as well. But I realised after many years, all my teachers were all Gordon Higginson trained.
And I think he stayed, certainly from my perspective, he stayed very interested in my development, and I've been aware of him on many occasions, so have the students. So I think he's carried on being a teacher. But it's interesting you mentioned there about failing your CSNU, because I know with Zoom, we're getting a lot more people from places like Australia and that are looking at exam systems that maybe, you know, aren't so prevalent as they are here in the UK. But I really would like to talk about exams because I have the highest exams. I have 3 diplomas from the union. But we need to recognise that exams are a value given by the person who writes the exam. So they determine the value of that exam, not you, not the spirit world. And equally, it measures a moment in time. Most exams only measure a moment in time. They don't measure an ongoing experience.
Yeah.
And equally, there are people who are living in places or in contact with churches or groups where there isn't the possibility to take those exams.
Yeah.
Maybe other than Zoom, maybe they haven't got the money to take them or the time to take them because they've got a family or a full-time job. I mean, I did my exams when I was running a business. I ran a hotel that was 24/7. Maybe you've got a job that can't do that. And I think we now live in a world, Val, where you are a qualified medium or a not qualified medium, and that is incorrect. You are a medium who holds a qualification.
That's very true.
Different. That's very different. You're a medium who has had the time and the money and the possibility to get a qualification. It doesn't mean you're better than someone without a qualification.
That's very true.
And I'm sure you find it when you go to work at other schools, other countries. You know, when I was starting, I mean, I've been around a long while teaching, but when I started, people used to say, international medium, Sheila French, like you're taking a qualification, international medium. And I said to everybody, all it means is you spend hours at an airport waiting and praying that your knickers will arrive. Because that's all it means. It doesn't mean you're a brilliant medium. It doesn't mean you're any better than any other medium in that country. It just means you want your knickers to arrive at the airport, because you can't do mediumship without a clean pair of knickers. Believe me, that's the best piece of advice I can give you.
You just reminded me, when I very first came to Australia, I packed my suitcase, got all the way to Australia. I was 40 at the time, and I forgot to pack my knickers. I went with my cousin and we had to go trotting off to Target to buy some. I haven't lived that down. Yeah, people think that's funny that you've said that and I've said that. So do you know Proud Mixed Child? Because they've said hello, Sheila. I just wondered if that was somebody that you knew.
No, I don't. No.
Okay. All right. That's all right. Yeah. That's all right. Sometimes we get
visitors.
We get visitors and we have to deal with them. So so that's the AFC and the other teaching. So you've got your beautiful school,
I have.
Because of COVID. Tell us all what's happening there.
So the most ironic thing about the school is the last time we met was our 20th birthday party. And I had people there that had been at the very first course and were on the course just before we shut down. I mean, I think there were so many tears. If I'd known we were going to shut down for 2 years, there would have been even more tears that night.
Oh.
So we completed 20 years. But the difference at the school for me was that every student would be an individual, that there was no set way of presenting mediumship, no set way of learning mediumship, that people could come to the school and do it their way and be valued for doing it their way.
How wonderful.
And at the time, I mean, post-COVID's going to be different, but at the time, we always ran with 2 tutors in the classroom, which then was unusual, expensive, but unusual, expensive for us, not for the students, so that one tutor could always give time to the students individually, while the other tutor could teach the classroom. And that was really important, but it became like home. People would help lay up the dinner table, help do the washing up. I had a cook, but it was very much a family orientated thing. And if people wanted to give healing, they didn't need a qualification. They just came and asked permission. They were allowed to offer healing to other students. If people wanted to practice sittings in the evening, they just came and asked permission. And providing it fitted with the curriculum, they could go off and do it. So it was a place for me that, although I was there as a teacher and would offer an education, there was very much a safe place for people to explore what their mediumship was.
Yeah.
And we've kept that philosophy ever since.
And it's interesting that you say that, because I've been to the AFC many times and we're not allowed to do that. No healing, no readings. It's all so strict. So I love the fact that you've got that flexibility.
And it was why I withdrew. I withdrew from the AFC because, I mean, lots of people love it. I won't take that way. I loved my years there. You know, it gave me my dream and I loved my years. So I'm not here to say it's wrong. I'm just saying I was a square peg in a round hole. So it wasn't right for me. That was all.
Yeah. Okay. So we said that your college is not, it can't run because of COVID. So what's going to happen when you do come back? How is it?
So, well, at the moment, the next start date after all the other start dates we've had is October. Realistically, here in the UK, I don't think it's going to happen because we're being locked down again for 4 weeks, or freedom's withdrawn a bit for the next 4 weeks. So I don't think we're going to get going this year. But I've had to find a new location. The hotel, we're right by the sea. You can see France from the school. So I won't say Folkestone. If I say Dover, a lot of you will know Dover. You can see France from there. And the hotel went bankrupt. So the hotel's gone, but I found a new location, thankfully, again, thanks to Spirit, just out driving one day, and I thought, and it's near where I live. I don't know why I hadn't noticed this hotel before, because I go past it often. And I thought, I haven't tried them. And wonderful people, can't wait to have us. So we will open again. We run about 7 weeks a year, 11 courses over 7 weeks. Some of them are international. I have German speaking week and French speaking week. And all with the same philosophy. Although we'll have a topic, there's a lot of freedom, a lot of possible, if it's a trance course, but somebody comes and they're rubbish at trance, they just don't like it, I'll let them do mediumship all week. Equally, if somebody like myself comes on a mediumship course, but clearly has a skill for trance, I'll encourage that trance, Wow.
That's actually fantastic, because a lot of teachers are so strict and rigid, and I can't be like that. I was teaching last weekend, I think it was, and everybody said, you were so flexible and you allowed us to do what we needed to do, but you just guided us.
Exactly. And I also like to teach mixed ability groups. I rarely have beginners, intermediate, advanced, because I think everybody can learn something from everybody else. And as a teacher, you've got the skill to teach all the groups at the same time. So why set one? It makes it elitist. I really don't like this idea that this one is better than this one, or this one's got more potential than this one. I've got a lady with me who's 77 now, and I've known her for most of my teaching career. And we laugh. When we think about her first lessons, we laugh how dire they were, you know, really how hilariously ridiculous her first few lessons were. And here she is now, 77, 30 years later, and she's a fine little medium. She just took a bit longer than everybody else, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to somebody today who was asking me about classes, and she said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Well, I would suggest that you join the Monday class. One, because it's a smaller class, and two, because it's got beginners and intermediates and advanced students in there. And I always say that the advanced ones help the beginners, and the beginners actually help the advanced as well. So it's a balance, isn't it? And I think if as a teacher you can get that right, my students are saying, we've got an amazing teacher. Thanks, guys. But if you can get that balance right, and you can work in a way that does help one, you know, each of them, then and I think that's so important. So you've called, tell us why you've called the school, now you'll have to pronounce it, because
Star. Well, it's a bit of a coincidence, really, because as I said, the hotel I was running for Glyn burnt down, and my school was called Ersham Lodge, which was actually the lodge house for a big manor house originally, but we had a hotel just outside Canterbury in England. And so we moved the school there. We had to run it over 4 weeks because we weren't big enough to do it in one go. And the school took off there. And then Star is my spirit name, which Glyn gave me, my spirit name. So the school was Ersham Star, which made perfect sense for the 7 years we were there. But then when I sold the hotel and moved, the name was too established to lose it. So we've had to take the name with us. And everybody has trouble explaining it. Nobody knows why it's called Ersham Star, because it's not relevant anymore. But it is the Ersham Star School. We couldn't change the name then. And so history lives on.
Well, that's good. That's good. Now, you mentioned French and German students. Do you actually speak French and German?
A little.
So you do it through translators?
I have translators for all of my work abroad, and we have translators here. It was funny because my mother actually passed 3 weeks ago, but we had the funeral this week. So it's been a stressful, and I spent 3 weeks sitting with my mother before she passed. So it's been a stressful month. So I was a little bit tired. So I had a German speaking class on Sunday, and I said to the translator, I can't speak any German today, you've got to translate everything. And then by halfway through, I was jumping in before she translated. She said, oh, your German's woken up now. I said, yeah, but still concentrate because I'm very tired. So sometimes I can use half and half. And, you know, I love to teach the translators because they're translating word for word. I have excellent translators, all of my translators. And then every now and then I throw in a bit of German and they translate it into English. They don't realise what they've done.
I love
but
that.
I'm not fluent, not by any means, but I'm probably stronger now in German than French, but not so much really. You know, I love to teach, and I don't know what the culture would be in Australia. I know very little about. I know one or two of people like yourself, Val, that come out of Australia into the UK, you know, so I've met them there. But I've not really known the Australian culture of mediumship or spiritualism. But one thing I love as a teacher is every country I teach in, I have to teach differently. You have to go with the idea of the culture. And I work probably 60% of my foreign work, 70% is in Switzerland, which is French, Italian, and German speaking. And in each area, I have to teach differently. And that challenges my work, which I love. I really love.
That is brilliant. I'm actually English, and I've only been in Australia for 12 years. And you might be interested to know that in 2008 Christmas, I got shouted at by Spirit, who said, "You've got to give up your business, you've got to give up your home, you've got to give up your country. We want you to go to Australia." And I remember standing there and screaming at them and saying, how is that going to happen? I've got no skills, qualifications. I was 55 at the time. So I had nothing to offer Australia, but I actually got my citizenship here last November.
Well done, congratulations.
It's been an incredible journey. And you know, I'm not one of those airy fairy people. You know, you see some of them, no, spirit says and spirit says. I just read the book The Secret, actually, and that was the power of positive thinking. And I thought, well, okay, if you're telling me I've got to do this, then it's obviously something that I've got to think about. So I actually put it in the diary for the following year and just watched it unfold from there. So I trusted and believed, and I've shouted at them and sworn at them and all sorts in that time, because it hasn't been easy. But you know, I'm here, and I'm really, really happy I'm here, because I felt like I'd come home.
And I think that's important, Val, when you say it hasn't been easy, because I see so many people who feel they've been let down by the spirit world because it's not been easy, or it's not happened. And the spirit world can't live our lives for us. No. They can only inspire us, encourage us, pick us up when we fall down. And students say, but if they wanted me to do that, why didn't they make it happen? And forgive me, it's a strong analogy, but the analogy that I always use is, if the spirit world could interfere in our lives that much, and I mean the word interfere, in our lives that much, they would stop the hand that strikes a child, or stop the bullet that kills a man. Yeah. You know? So why pick you up and put you in Australia when they could use the energy to stop children being killed? Yeah. You know? Yeah. But what they can do is light the spark and encourage the flame and keep knocking until you listen, but they can't make it happen. And I think there are so many people who believe that spirit world give them their life, and the spirit world, and it's not right. And then they feel let down, you know, they feel disappointed.
It's funny. I suppose I did in some respects feel let down, because I remember standing there so many times and saying, oi, you told me I had to come here. Now pull your finger out and make this happen. But I still got on with, I knew I was being guided and led. So I just did what I needed to do, knowing that they were with me and sort of doing that little juggle thing every now and again. So, yeah, I don't think I've ever been let down by spirit. I think I probably let them down. But anyway. But we're human beings at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I always get it wrong. So we're human beings. No, we're spirit beings having a human experience, aren't we?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
I always say it the wrong way around.
I'm just me. I'm not complicated like that. I'm just me. I don't do complicated.
No. And we make mistakes. We can't help that. So I wanted to ask you, do you prefer to teach, to do readings, or to do demonstrations?
Well, I'm multidisciplined, so I'm trance and mediumship and healing. The only thing you won't find me doing is psychic art. If you find a pen in my hand, just take it off me, because it just doesn't work. But I'm multidisciplined. If you say, which do I do the most of, it would be teaching, most definitely. It's what I'm known as. If you ask, what do I prefer, it would be trance work, is where my passion is. But actually, I like doing all of it, and I like being multidisciplined. But the majority of my time now is spent teaching. It's passing on that knowledge rather than me. You know, I've been the foot soldier in the past, where you're out every night and demonstrating and doing. I mean, most of my private readings now are done when I'm at workshops or when I'm traveling. So I don't do home readings anymore. I'm very fortunate. I'm at that point in my career where I've done the foot soldier work, and I'm helping other people to be the foot soldier now. So I more see myself as the teacher for the people, you know, passing on the knowledge for the people for the future.
I love the fact that you use that word passion, because I think people must laugh their heads off at me because I get so passionate about all of this stuff, and I just can't stop. And I think you have to have a passion to do this work, because it becomes all-encompassing in some respects, doesn't it?
Certainly for me, prior to COVID, it had
Yeah.
become the greater part of my life. And I mean, I gave up business when I was 50. So I've had 15 years of, I mean, I was doing both jobs full time really before, but I had the freedom then with this one, and it had taken over quite a lot. Just admin, answering emails, things like that takes time.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping there'll be a new Sheila post-COVID. Hopefully I'll be a little bit less compelled after COVID.
And maybe we could get you on again, or get you to do a trance demonstration at some time, because I think more and more people these days are becoming interested in trance mediumship. I know a lot of my students have been working on it themselves. I don't do trance myself because I've never felt comfortable doing it. But we've got somebody over here, a guy called Roy Allen, who's coming to Wollongong. So you have funny names over there. We have funny names over here too, as do Canada. And he trances Maurice Barbanel and Estelle Roberts. Now, his parents were both trance mediums as well many, many years ago, and they lived in England and Africa. So very interesting. So maybe we can talk about that another time, Sheila.
Okay, I'd love to, yeah. I'm pleased to hear you say there's a lot of people interesting, because throughout my 30-odd years, nearly 40 years, it comes and goes in and out of fashion, very much. You have 2 or 3 years where everybody wants to do it. They can't do it as perfectly as they want, so they drop it. And now we have, particularly during COVID, but even before COVID, where people wanted their jobs to become mediumship. And the easiest way, and I don't mean that in a nasty way, but the simplest way to earn your money is through mediumship, evidential mediumship, demonstrations, private readings, psychic work, healing work. That's the easiest way to have a business if you're going to run it as a business where you earn an income. Where trance, it takes a while for people to get to know if you're any good, for your reputation to grow. I mean, I do demonstrations to more than 200 people sometimes, but that's taken a lot of my career to get that far. It was very much a Cinderella skill when I first started. So I'm pleased to hear it's in fashion in Australia, because here in the UK, it's less in fashion at the moment. We're in a downward spiral at the moment.
Yeah.
And the Swiss, particularly, the Germans, they're okay. They like the phenomena, a bit physical, not really dedicated to the teaching of the spirit world directly from the spirit world. So it's good. Yeah, I'll be happy to join you.
Okay, all right. Somebody, Ali's just said she's never seen a trance medium, interested to see a demonstration. One of my students, Glenn, his passion is trance mediumship. He does the mediumship, which he's doing brilliantly, and he's sort of come in and out of that one. But trance is his passion, and he set up the dark room and the cabinet thing and everything. And he's got a lot of the other students joining him on Zoom with the trance, and they're all absolutely loving it. So Angela's just put up, we should call it Joy Trance, because she just can't get enough of it. It's
the best cuddle in the world. But you've mentioned something there that in my teaching I'm really passionate to emphasize. So trance mediumship is misunderstood. There's physical mediumship, which may or may not. My dog, the postman's just come. Once she realizes the postman, she'll stop barking. There's physical mediumship, which may or may not involve the trance state. And then there's trance mediumship, or trance healing, or trance writing, or trance drawing. And a lot of people think it needs to be a dark room. It needs to be equipment, that somehow you're in danger if there's a noise made or anything like that. And actually, it's just moving your mind to a different altered state, to evidential mediumship. That's all it is. Phenomena or trying to achieve phenomena is a different form of trance. And over the years, they've got crossed so much. You know, I would love, if I was patient enough and dedicated enough, to write a book about phenomena. Because things like transfiguration, you know, there are very few people that sit for transfiguration. That's where the spirit world appears in some physical form over the medium. There's a wonderful clairvoyant transfiguration out there that only mediums can see, but it's amazing. But it's downgraded because it's not physical phenomena that everybody can see.
Yeah.
And transfiguration needs its own book, you know?
Yeah, I saw a transfiguration medium many years ago, and I can't for the love of me remember his name. Jay Love, he was called.
Jay, yeah.
And he was incredible. So we were in a subdued light, and he had this man, and he was giving the information, and I knew it was my granddad. And I went up, I was holding the hand of my granddad and looking at my granddad. It was the most emotional thing. And he died a few years before, and it was just brilliant. And yeah, I thought he was absolutely wonderful. And I agree. There's certain parts of mediumship that are not tapped into so much. And if you think about in the original days, you know, when they used to have, I would have loved to have been there in those days.
Yeah. And I think if we had mediums like that these days, they'd probably keep it quietly to themselves so that the press and people can't come in and damage it in some way.
True.
I'm sure we have good physical mediums out there who are just doing it quietly in their own little circles, you know.
Yeah.
But you need to be brave to come out now.
Yeah. That goes for mediums as well. There are an awful lot of very, very good mediums who don't have to be, they're not in the public eye, and they don't want to be, they don't have to be, but they're still good. It doesn't mean to say just because they're not in the public eye that they're not. So tomorrow night, what's happening tomorrow night or tomorrow morning for you?
Yes, tomorrow morning. I'm getting up very early just for you in Australia. I'm doing mediumship very early in the morning just for you in Australia.
You're lucky it's not 7 o'clock in the morning.
True.
It's 10 o'clock in the morning. So somebody, Jan is on here, and she runs her own centre, and she messaged me and she said, what time is da-da-da-da-da in Australia? And I went back and said 4 a.m. And she said, I won't ask you to do the demonstration.
That's the problem.
But I have actually worked at 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. to do things in the UK. No. But so 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and I'm going to put this link up so people can take the information down. So the information is about your school, the Star. So there's the website for.
And if I can just tell everybody, the website is way out of date at the moment because we're just waiting for an opening date. But it gives you a bit of information.
Yeah, but it also gives the opportunity for people to actually put their information up and make an inquiry of you.
And we can send it as soon as we do the. Every time we redo the website, Boris changes something, so we've given up now.
We'll get rid of Boris. And then tomorrow night we have on, Brett's Church, Newtown, Connected Spirits in, put the teeth in, Connected Spirits Spiritual Centre. So Tuesday evening, we normally meet once a month, which is the first Tuesday of the month, in the hall in the city in Sydney. And then because of COVID, we've now stuck to the third Tuesday of the month doing an online service, which is brilliant because then we can bring international mediums in. So we've gone back to our local mediums in the hall and we're staying with the international. So we were so proud that you said yes. I did this yesterday at the local church, and I said, by the way, we've got so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so coming. And they went, how did you get them? I said, because I just asked. I think some people are frightened to approach people, but if you ask, they'll either say yes or no. And that's what I thought with you. You'll either say yes or no. But Martin Colclough told me you were a very nice person and you'd probably say yes.
Thank you.
So we feel very, very honoured to have you on here. So tomorrow night at 10 o'clock UK time and 7 p.m. Australia times. Hi, Jenny. We will be doing the church service with Brett's Church, and the medium who is with us this week is Sheila French. So that's why I've put the connection up here. So it gives you the Zoom connection and the meeting ID information. If you don't get that information down before we finish, message me and I will send it to you. But I know we're going to have a really good evening, and morning. But I was saying to Sheila that in the UK they don't do a meditation. Gosh, my teeth. They don't do a meditation in the middle of a service, which we do here. And I know when I first came here, it was the strangest thing in the world. What are they doing? Closing all the windows and the curtains and turning all the lights off. And I'm thinking, and they always do the mediumship demonstration after the or they used to always do the mediumship demonstration after the meditation, which the energies go right down and you've got to pick them all back up again. So I always say, please do the meditation, then play a really, really nice uplifting song for us to do the mediumship. Yep. And so that's what will happen tomorrow. Kathy, there is no passcode. It's just the meeting ID and you will go straight in. So Brett has made it really easy. So if you can just go into zoom.us, put in the meeting ID 827-0909. 0010, and then you should go straight in. And we look forward to seeing as many of you there as possible. And Sheila is a brilliant medium, so you know the likelihood of you getting a message tomorrow is good, and you'll get a very good message. So Trish Mundy has said, thank you, Sheila. It's been great hearing you speak tonight.
Thank you.
Seeing you tomorrow. And I'm just laughing at Jan. She said, I can suggest some good songs. They do their own healing center, which puts all sorts of mediums on. But they play songs like My Old Man's a Dustman.
Why not?
I'm a Barbie Girl. It is just hysterical, but it just lifts the energy and everybody. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Anyway, so we're coming up to 8 o'clock, and I did say, I've got a free class. Let me put that information up quickly. So hopefully everybody's got the information for tomorrow night. If you haven't, please message me, val@valhood.com, and I will put that one up because that just ticker tapes across the bottom. Right, so there's that one. And the free class is here. So on Thursday at 7 o'clock UK time, there is a free class for an hour. Now, this is aimed at beginners, and it is just a connection to your intuitive side. We're not going to do anything fancy or magical or doing readings and things like that. It's just a beginner's tapping into, I should have asked you about this, Sheila, but it is just giving you an inkling into what you can do and what you're capable of doing. And then we've got to say hello to Martin because he might watch this tonight or today. And now we've got to do the healing. So please don't forget the free class, but we're now going to do the healing, which if anybody's got any names for healing and you know what to do, you just send the information to me and we will make sure that we send that information out. But I'm going to find my song, and I usually have done it by now. I got carried away with your beautiful talking, which was really lovely. So you probably think I'm a complete nutcase, but I like to do everything in a nice, easy way. Let me just swap there a second, put that up to there. Okay, so we're going to imagine that we are all holding hands, and we're all holding hands with everybody that's on here today. And we're going to send out information, send out that lovely energy out through our left hand and feel it coming back in to our right hand. And we're going to feel that beautiful flow of energy as it goes around every single person that's linked here. And then we're going to expand that. And we're going to send it out to our country, and then our world, and then our universe. So we're sending that beautiful healing energy out so it can touch every single person, every animal, every plant, and of course our planet, which is very badly damaged. So we're asking for that wonderful healing energy to go out to everybody. So we're going to, I'll put the music on, and then we can just imagine that, and then I want you to sing. You've got to sing at the top of your voices. I've got more of a voice this week, so you're going to have to put up with my lovely singing. But anyway. Oh, sorry, wrong thing. There we go. So we're sending that lovely healing energy out. It's going out across our world, out to our planet, to every single person on here. And don't forget the names. Bella, I've got Ted. I'll put him in my healing book. And any other names that you've got, please let me have them. And Bella's just put the words up, so we'll put them up so you can all sing along. And I want to hear everybody singing. Healing for Jane as well. I'll make sure I put those in. There are so many people in need of healing. And it was interesting because I was going to say that we can't necessarily heal people, but sometimes that transition is just as important. Make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. And Gaina. And know that this healing works. There's so many wonderful results that I'm hearing at the moment. For the living, make a better place for you and for me. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Keep sending that beautiful energy out. For you and for me, you and for me, you and for me. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sheila, for being with us this week.
Thank you for asking me.
Do you know what? It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's lovely to have somebody that feels normal. And I love the fact that you said about your classes being normal, because somebody said, I normalize things when we're doing workshops.
Yeah,
so that's really nice. And I think that's the best way, because if you're up there and you're trying to teach down here, it's never going to work. You've got to be on the same level as everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure. I know everybody has enjoyed you being on here tonight, and your stories have been lovely, and the fun as well as the seriousness. But thank you so much. And we're absolutely looking forward to seeing you tomorrow night. And I know you're going to get a great warm welcome from Brett. He's a complete nutcase, but he's gorgeous. we all very, very much.
Thank you for asking me.
Thank you. And good night, everybody. And I'll see you next week. I haven't got anybody next week, so it's just me. But I'll see you next week. Thank you all so much. Good night, everybody.
Take care.
Good morning. Bye.
Take care. Bye.